If you're thinking about shipping your items internationally, stop. Watch this video first. Here's what I wish I knew before it was too late. Welcome to Together Abroad by Faith. I'm Stacy, and the man that would normally be next to me is Chris, but he's suffering through bronchitis right now, which will be a whole nother video on going to the doctor here in Mexico. Okay, what had happened was we sold just about everything before we moved to Mexico. When I say everything, I mean technically everything. If it wasn't going to our daughter and her boyfriend for their new place, if it didn't fit into the 4 things of luggage that we brought, it was just not coming. It's so expensive to um, ship bigger items internationally than you would think. Besides, I mean, a lot of that stuff is, in our case, let's just start brand new. So the items that we decided to ship were, replaceable, irreplaceable things like pictures that we've taken through the years because my husband and I have been together for this year would be 26 years. Um, the kids' pictures and stuff like that you just can't get back. Stuff from my grandma before she passed away, and other little knickknacks that we wanted to keep with us. So we decided to ship those things. Now, I'm making this video because of how things went in the midst of shipping. These tips that I'm giving you are tips that I wish that I had before we decided to ship. So let's begin. Tip number 1. Bigger isn't always more expensive. What do I mean by that? We had a bunch of little boxes of stuff. When I say small boxes, I mean the small Walmart size box. I'll put a picture here. And we had several of those. And it kept coming up when we did the quotes that it was like $300 a box. And $300 a box racks up a lot when you have smaller boxes. So when I was wrestling over in my sleep one night, I could hear the Lord say, check other size boxes. I got up that morning and I went on Walmart's website and I got the dimensions for the large box and the medium box. And they came up just about the same price. So it was looking like they didn't care, they is in the shipping company, didn't care what I was shipping, but just the fact that I needed to ship something. So instead of going with the large box, we ended up going with the medium sized box to make it easier in transport once we got here. So, which I'm so glad we did because the car that we ended up having to transport the items in was a smaller size car. So, thankfully, the Lord came through with letting us know because we were the original quote for to ship our stuff, I think was like 3,000 and some dollars using those smaller size boxes. And what ended up being the 3 medium sized boxes that we ended up using was like $1,041 at the time of this filming, which was not bad in comparison to that 3,000 and some dollars. Lesson: always check the box size rates before you pack. You may be saving yourself money just by using a larger box. Tip number 2, the hidden itemized list requirement. When I say hidden list requirement, we saw this nowhere before we packed our stuff. Thankfully, with my husband and all his Wanting to make sure everything is in order, we started categorizing in an Excel format what things that were in the boxes and what was in each box. And which obviously makes sense, right? But with my husband's extra layer of detail, we added on our list, let me look, the box number, mind you, all this will be in the description box below. The box number, the item name, price, weight of each item, quantity of each item, status, whether it's new or old, because they prefer you not to ship a lot of new stuff in household goods shipment, and a brief description of each item. Now, when we got to FedEx, thankfully we had brought we had brought the laptop with us to make any changes that was needed, because by the time we got there, we found out not only was this helpful and necessary, was we had three boxes, and we had to in each box put what was specifically in that box, not a list of everything as a whole, but specifically in that box. So bringing the laptop made it where we could make on the fly changes, additions, subtractions, and whatnot. And we were able to tell the cashier like the value of that particular box and keep everything situated. And since we were at the FedEx shipping location, we were able to print off the paperwork that was needed, because you need three different printouts in each box. For what you say, I don't know, but you need three of each printouts in each box. The lesson learned is have your stuff itemized and bring a laptop with you just in case you need to make changes while you're at the shipping center, because who knows what additional requirements they're coming up with now. But at the time of this filming, that is what they needed, was that itemized list to go in that box. And had I not had my laptop with me, we would have not been able to ship our stuff out the day before we flew out to Mexico. Tip number 3, when you're going to a shipping center, go early. Like early. When they open, sure, early. I say that to say, we went, I think it was 3 hours, 4 hours before closing. We had three boxes. Everything was packed up, ready to go. It took them 3 hours. We were there until after closing, because everyone that was there, um, everyone didn't really understand. It was only the first person that understood. She had to leave because it was her time to get off, and the other people that were there up front didn't understand. Someone from the back had to come up to finally kind of help, and it was a call to corporate back and forth. It was a whole thing because we were shipping household goods, and the system only took, I think, like 25 items, and they had to get in and manually type each item. And it was like, we're not doing that. The person that came out from the back was like, let's put in parentheses that you have an itemized list in each box instead of trying to type out each thing individually. It was, when I say it was a lot, we had like 3 pages per set of things that were in each box. So to have someone attempt to start trying to type out everything that was in each box, and the system only took 25 items per box, girl, nah. So we were there well after closing, and it was a whole thing. It was a whole event thing. So go early, take your time, don't stress. The lesson is plan on shipping to take longer than you expect. Whether you have all of your stuff situated or not, preferably you have all your stuff boxed up and ready. Be prepared because it's gonna take longer than you think. Don't go hungry. Don't go if you have somewhere to be after that. Don't go in a time crunch because you're not gonna make it. So go early, take your time, calm yourself, prepare for the stress, have a laptop, have your stuff you need, and just get there early. Just get there early because it will take longer than you expect. Before we get into tip 4, here's a quick word from our sponsor. You know those days when life feels like it's punched you in the face and nothing you do stops the fight? Then out of nowhere, something reminds you God is bigger than your situation if you'll trust Him with it. That's what we want our pieces to be. Visual reminders, not just for you, but for people who don't even know they needed you. It's not just clothing, it's your spiritual praise out loud, helping someone climb out of the funk and find strength to fight back. Every day, we walk into a world that needs reminders of God's truth. Let's be the reminder together. Find your peace that speaks life at rebirthliving.shop. Tip number 4, proving your address and the 60-day countdown. When we moved to Mexico, we did not have an address yet because we were waiting till when we got here to look for a place. Because every time we found a place previously in the sale of our house, and it took longer than expected to sell our house because people kept backing out because our house was backed up to an interstate, and having pictures of our house backed up to a real estate to the interstate didn't help people understand that the interstate has noise. You have sound. It's an interstate. So people would um, come and view the house and like be shocked that you can hear the interstate. Um, we had several contracts that bagged out. It was a whole thing. So every time we found a house, we couldn't leave when we thought we were going to leave when we had contracts on the house, and it was a whole thing. So we decided, but the last time when somebody put a contract on the house that fell through, we were just going to wait. We were just going to wait till we get here. So when we shipped our stuff, we shipped it to a FedEx location that was close to our hotel. And so we thought, hey, you ship, go through customs, we go pick it up, take it to our hotel. The shipment date, I think, was like from the date that we shipped it was like the very next Tuesday or something like that it was supposed to get there. It's like, great, we'll be settled at the hotel, and we would go pick up the boxes and bring them to the hotel. No, not even. What had happened was I get an email from customs. Customs is like, so we need you to prove your address to get your items. I'm like, I don't have an address. We are living in a hotel right now. Will you take the hotel address? They're like, sure. Send us your reservation information and the hotel information. I send that. Great. Thinking, we'll get our stuff. No. Uh, they're like, let's escalate this email to the law department. And they're like, No, you need a proof of an actual permanent address for you to get your stuff. Mind you, at that point, I was like, okay, well, how long do you hold on to our stuff so we know how long we have to get? They give you 60 days from the time customs gets your stuff. 60 days. Now, mind you, several of these days have already been ticked away because they send you forms ahead of time for you to fill out and send back and all this other stuff. And you have to find locations to print out stuff and be able to scan it and send back, which is not too hard in the middle of Central. So after finding that out, that we needed a permanent location, not only do you need a permanent location, you need proof of your address. They tell you you need a current lease contract, electric, internet, or telephone bill or cable bill. Now, mind you, here in Merida, you don't get a bill once a month like you do in the States. They send you a bill every 2 months. So, in the time that it would take us to get a place, let alone get a fresh bill, we already exhausted the 60 days. You can get a bank statement, which you can't get until you already have a place and an RFC number and a few other things. And also, if you're buying a home, you have to have a notarized copy of your deed, which you don't get until several months. It takes months to get a house here. Can I say how stressful this stuff was? Because we had none of that. Like, none of that. In the time of us going back and forth with them, we were able to find a house and we signed the sale contract. And I'm thinking, okay, the sale contract has our address on it. Everything's on there. You see the developer, all this other stuff is on there. And that will prove our address. Wrong. In my Charlie Murphy voice. Wrong. Wrong. They was like, no, we need a notarized deed. I'm like, you didn't say that in the beginning. You said you needed the contract. So, what we ended up doing, thankfully or not thankfully, my original phone, my in the States phone, died, like black screen of death. So, I had to end up getting a phone here. Now, they were saying that they needed the phone bill originally. So when I got the phone here, which was we got the monthly plan because we had an address instead of the pay as you go. So on the monthly plan, you sign up for it and they put your address on there. Thankfully, thank the Lord, I was able to send them that contract from the phone bill that had our address on there to prove our address. That was a whole thing. That was a whole thing. Had my phone not died, thank the Lord, even though I lost so many pictures, lost my Bible streak. That's a whole nother thing. But thankfully, we were able to use the phone contract to be able to get our stuff. The lesson here is if you need to prove your address, normally here your electric bill is gold. That's a proof of address, but you won't get that. Get a phone account. Um, I can't remember if the pay as you go phone bills have your address on it, but I know for sure the monthly bill. But when you get ready to get your phone bill, your monthly plan, just know you need 4 references, 4 living in Mexico references that have Mexico numbers that have lived in Mexico for over 6 months before you could even look like you want to get a phone bill. That's a whole thing. That's a whole nother video. We'll cover that because you need other stuff as well. But yeah. So thankfully we were able to get that situated. So that's your lesson. Look for other options. Don't let this stuff stress you. That's number one. That is the number one lesson with dealing with customs and whatnot. Don't let this stuff stress you because it is stressful. It makes me think of the articles that I read before moving, how people ship their stuff through customs and their stuff got thrown away. Um, it's a lot to go through. It's a lot. Those 60 days tick like this. And the paperwork that they need you to sign and return, they're really iffy about what you need to put on there and everything. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So just be prepared to have your stuff in a row, what you need to get done. Get the bill, get the phone bill ahead of time. Go to Telcel and get your phone situated and have that as your proof of address once you have your address. Because when I tell you the back and forth I went through with customs, how the options that they gave us to get our stuff back was either in that 60 days, was either 60 days to get your stuff back. They'll send it back to the previous address that you sent it from. Where was that? Because we no longer live there. And abandonment. That's it. Those are your options. Those are your options. You can't send your stuff to somewhere else. They have to send it back to the original address on it, and you pay for it. You pay for it, and they also say if they have to use another broker, like they send your stuff to another broker, you have to pay for that also. Like you sent, like them sending your stuff to the separate broker that's not FedEx. Um, yeah, you pay for it. There's an application process here in Mexico that you can ship your household items duty free for it in the first 6 months of you living here, but you have to fill out an application. I'll put the link to that here in the description. The thing with that is you pay for the application and they give you a certificate or whatnot for you to present to get your items imported for free. But in our case, we didn't do that because of customs to the cost to get our stuff imported, the fee ended up being slightly cheaper than doing the application. So they base your customs amount off of how much your items are in that itemized list that you did previously. So keep that in mind. Tip number 5. Know what's exactly allowed to ship. My grandmother passed away in '08. So I had a few of her things, some stuff I did put in luggage and some stuff I did. Like, for instance, her perfume bottle. It was a little glass little bottle, maybe 4 ounces at the most if it was full. When we went to ship our stuff, they asked us if there was any liquid in there. And I said yes. And I dug it out and I showed them and said what it was. And it wasn't full. It was probably maybe a third or more that was empty. And they looked at it and said, oh, it's below whatever size. It should be fine. So I left it in the box. I get an email from customs going, a separate email from the 60-day back and forth email. we had to throw away the liquid container that was in your box because they thought it was drugs. Had they told me when I went to ship our stuff that would have been thrown away instead of it was fine, I would have had it in my luggage. The lesson is if it's irreplaceable, put it in your luggage. Put it in your luggage. Tip number 6. Sometimes luggage is your best shipping solution. I say that to say, if you can put it in your luggage, put it in your luggage because that saves you heartache, sanity. Yeah. Check your airline because different airlines have different regulations on what they allow you to check and carry on and whatnot. Um, at the time of this filming, we as in Chris and I opted to get first class flights one way from Nashville because at the time, the both of us first class flights were less than $1,000. We took American Airlines, and at the time they offered, um, I think it was like 5 check bags per person. For first class, your weight capacity went up to 70 pounds, and that 70 pounds was free for all 5 bags. You could take, I think, 2 or 3 check bags. I can't remember how many check bags, but we only had 1 check bag apiece in our laptop bags and my purse, and didn't have to pay for any of that. So that was awesome. So your lesson for tip 6 with luggage being the best shipment, had we thought about it, we may have purchased more check bags to take the stuff instead of shipping it. Um, because when you get your stuff back from customs, it's not going to be in the same boxes that you had it in when you shipped it. It's not going to be in the same condition that you shipped it. I got stuff back broken, dirty, all thrown in each boxes. They even out of the three boxes, they plastic wrapped 2 of the boxes together with the heavier of the 2 boxes on top. So it was smushing the second box. So no telling how long that had been shrink wrapped together and it was smushing stuff in our box. So that was the lesson for tip number 6. Put it in your luggage. Put it in your luggage. If you can't replace it, put it in your luggage. Put it in your luggage. Buy extra luggage. Put it in the luggage. I think I have covered every tip that I wish I'd known beforehand. Moving abroad is an adventure, but shipping does not have to be the nightmare that we went through. I'm hoping these tips help any of you have a better situation shipping your items internationally than we did. If these tips have been helpful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. We have an adventure to share with you guys and hope you can be here for it. I am Stacy, and he would say, I am Chris. And just like that, another one. We out, and we'll see you on the next one.